audio. That is strange. Thank you for letting me know. It's a different setup. Hopefully, this is coming through now. All I really said was, hello, Kyle. Thanks for joining us. Welcome to the 6 o'clock club. And hi, I'm Andy from Twisting Narrative. So there wasn't a whole amount of chat there. Hopefully the audio is coming through fine now. I said I'm going to briefly sort of go over last night's game, tonight's game, and the weekend's games, and then we're going to focus down on the main title of tonight's 6 o'clock club, which is the Shadowdark Sci-Fi Special that I spoiled last night on last night's 6 o'clock club. But without further ado, hopefully the old audio is working now. We're going to look at last night's game. So Wednesday's game was Fortunes Untold. Had Fliss, Ross, and James and Adrian full group, and it was really good fun. They came up with some very creative ways of distracting this monstrosity, this two-headed shark. Yay! Thanks for that, Kyle. It's good to know that it is coming through. They managed to defeat the shark and uncover the liquid sun successfully. Poor Granite, Roz's character, took substantial damage during that battle, though. Whilst they decided to take a long rest in the chamber out of the water, one of their number said that they'd take first watch, but got distracted with trying to harvest items from the two-headed shark. They were distracted. They did not make their perception roll, and I rolled one of those. Yes, there is an encounter. And the Merrow that they had snuck past had uncovered them, discovered them. Fortunately, James's mage had put an alarm spell, which triggered, at least alerting the party. And that is the cliffhanger we ended on, as battle ensued against these Merrow. One of their number distracted right at the end. They noticed that something was going on. It was a great game, really good fun, great group of players. 5th edition D&D set in the Forgotten Realms. They've got the item, they just need to defeat the Merrow now and escape. So that was Wednesday. Tonight we have our Icebreakers game with Jack, Joe, M, Sarah, James, Michael, and James. It's very exciting for me. I love this game. It's 5th edition, set in the world of Exandria of Critical Role. And they are about to enter the Shadowfell. Hey Elsa, I'm really pleased that you've managed to join us because I think you'll be interested in the Shadowdark Sci-Fi sort of material that I'm about to announce. So it was this game is a new story arc. They're about to descend in the Shadowfell, and for those of you who have played in my Shadowfell games before, it's dark and dismal and depressing. It's quite a very atmospheric vibe to the game. I don't like for the characters to spend too long there because it can get really sort of just grim. Not dangerous grim, but just dreary, and everything is dying. So that's going to be fun to play and an experience. They're trying to remove a curse from a vestige of divergence, an artifact. So it's going to be a challenge. It's going to be a mini story arc, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how they solve that. Then we've got a strange one on Friday. A number of our players can't make the collateral damage game. So at the moment, I think we've only got Michael, Stuart, and Richard that have announced that they can make it, and we're going to run a one-shot instead. It's going to be a mid-level one, maybe about 10th level, and it's something that I've done as a homage to the D&D movie that's just come out. Not seen the movie yet, been far too busy for even that break to get out to the cinema. But I've heard some very, very good things about it. But I love my heists, and this is the perfect opportunity. I'm going to call it As Thick as Thieves, and they are going to do a heist. So that'll be an interesting one shot on Friday. And we've got an incredibly busy Saturday. Not all of these games are running, particularly the Call of Cthulhu one, and I'll come on to that in a minute. So Saturday morning we've got Curse of Strahd, Josh, Ian, Matt, Pete, and Ryan in that. They are in this end game now. They're playing cat and mouse with Strahd in Castle Ravenloft. Then straight after that, back to back, we've got Tomb of Annihilation with Casper, Gordon, Marcus, and Dave, and they themselves are in the end game as well, fighting against the big bad, as it were. A session, maybe 2 sessions, and that will be the end of Tomb of Annihilation campaign. A very hard fought victory, having travelled all the way through the jungles of Cult to Omu, and then descending into the tomb itself. Then we have the Diplomates, which is another Critical Role game, 5th edition. We've got Ben, Charlotte, Mel, Doug, and Nathan in that. Yeah, they ended the last session on a massive cliffhanger. Bards doing bard stuff, and this was amazing. So they'll be clearing that mess up and then carrying on their investigations in the city they are currently in. And then we should be running Call of Cthulhu, but George can't make it. So this is where we are putting on our Shadowdark Sci-Fi game. Jack has said evening and getting ready for Shadowfell. Absolutely. I've done a shout out to you all already. Really looking forward to the Shadowfell game. So we've got this Shadowdark Special coming up, this sci-fi game called Junkers. I'm going to be chatting about that in a minute, but that is the style of the thumbnail that I've designed for it. But before we come on to that, we'll talk quickly about Sunday's games. Sunday, we've got our normal game, which is on every week, 5th edition Eberron, Jenny, Jocelyn, Rachel, Tony, and Christian. In that, they've just finished a major story arc, and now really with the repercussions of that and moving forward with what they want to do next. So it's going to be nice. And they've also returned to Shan now, a big city of towers in there. So it's going to be interesting to see. I know roughly the direction they want to push forward with, but there's a whole heap of role playing. I am trying to put together a early Sunday game from 10 to 1, which is the West Marches style Shadowdark game. So that is on our Discord server as well. And if you're interested in that, jump into our Discord and feel free to ask me about it. So that is all of the games this week, and very, very excited for them. It's going to be a blast and relatively busy. But what I want to do now is move over to, if I can find the flyer for it again, Boomph, Shadowdark and Shadowdark Sci-Fi Junkers. For a while now, I've kind of wanted to do a grim, dark space game. I've not really had the right system to do it with. There's been a few systems that have caught my eye, and I've played around with a few ideas. And then about 4 weeks ago, I came across Shadowdark. It seems substantially longer, and I started thinking about it. I started thinking about everything that I like about the grim, dark sci-fi settings. Things like aliens, things like Warhammer 40k with Space Hulk and Necromunda. Um, Dirty, very dangerous, and dark quite often. You've got flashlights and your equipment is glitching and everything else. Um, and it was like a culmination of things coming together. I really like the idea of space truckers, um, of characters that are not particularly skilled or talented, but they risk everything by going on to sort of uh, sort of alien wrecks and trying to rip out salvage for it to sell. And that idea has manifested in this. It's going to be a one shot, and we have reskinned. We have reskinned Shadowdark. That fundamentally means we haven't rewritten it. We are playing the basic rules, the quick starter rules, um, but all of the gear, all of the abilities have just been given a science fiction uh, makeover. So, for instance, um, you know, you have pistols rather than short bows. You have shotguns rather than crossbows. You have rifles rather than long bows. Um, you have flares instead of torches, as in sort of medieval torches. Lanterns are flashlights, etc., etc. So all the mechanics for Shadowdark will still be in place, and equipment will be glitchy and coming out. One of the key things, and one of the things that has made it so easy to use this rule set, is you don't have to change all of the skills because there are no skills. You just do ability checks. So, for instance, if we need to make a piloting roll, for instance, we can choose what ability is best used for that, whether it's going to be programming a computer or whether it's going to be literally trying to maneuver the ship out of the way of something else, so dexterity. So it's all there to play for. And on top of that, because I do like my story, so it's going to be set in the world of the smoke. So it's going to be another version of Tales from the Smoke, but I'm not really pushing that because it's not set in the smoke. The smoke is off screen rather, and it is this metropolis, this large towering spaceport. Um, Obviously, you still have the lower areas where it's all grim and industrial, very diesel sort of punk kind of necromunda-ish. Um, but then you've got high society living at the top of this metropolis with all of the spaceports. And this is a place because there's a mechanic in Shadowdark called carousing that the Junkers can go back to offload their valuables and carouse to get experience points basically. Um, but it also means that we can use the same material, the same backgrounds. We've got mercantile houses, which are now corporations, um, somewhat changed, but still the same idea. And because it links to the Shadow Dark Tales from the Smoke game, which I've put the details down in there if you haven't already seen it, the fantasy version, it means that we can also have the same ancestry. So there are dwarves, there are goblins, there are elves, there are humans, there are halflings that exist in this game world as well. So the transformation is fairly straightforward. The space hulks they're called husks, these alien spacecraft that are rare, but when a junker finds one, it's like hitting gold. And all of these are on the outer rim, so far away from any of the home worlds. Um, so we can kind of do the final frontier. We can do the where no man or halfling or elf or goblin or orc has gone before, and get all of those kind of sort of concepts across as well. I'm super excited. We're going to try and do this theatre of the mind. We are going to try. I say try. It's just technology has been a bane for the moment. Our video feed is not feeding in properly. So because I kind of want to launch it live. This sounds good. If people like it, um, if people like it, what we will be doing is Matt is playing on this along with Kyle, along with Ian, and along with Malcolm. But Matt is co-writer with me, not on the plot, but polishes up all of my crazy ideas into the written word. Um, and if we feel it's got legs, we might this might be our first actual twisted narrative publication as a little space grimdark adventure that could be used with Shadowdark or maybe Merc, Borg, or any of other of those sort of grimdark sort of settings, kind of set in a sci-fi environment. So that is what we are doing. The link to the YouTube show is in the channel below in the comment section. We are hoping to go live at 7:30 Saturday night. That is British Standard Time. Come along and join us. It could well be aliens. It could well be a red dwarf. Who knows what kind of shenanigans the players and the characters are going to get up to. Kyle's in chat at the moment, and what do you think about that? Are you excited to be playing in it? Anybody else in chat as well? I'm more than happy to hear what you think about this madness that I'm about to descend into. Whilst we are waiting for chat to ask any questions if they want to, one of the things I like about Shadowdark, one of the things that is going to be quite easy to sort of replace, is Elsa has said win-win. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, both are very good. A lot of other games, sort of grim dark games in space, like the Alien game, which I really like, they've got panic mechanics and everything else, because this should have a horror aspect. But what I kind of like about Shadowdark is the characters have incredibly low hit points. Combat should technically always be the last resort. This Shadowdark, when you first look at it, and if you're very used to playing a lot of other fantasy games, you kind of think, well, everybody's going to die. It's just, I don't know how this is going to work. That is because a lot of other fantasy based role playing games are designed to promote combat first and foremost, battle role play games, and there's nothing wrong with that, but that's what mechanically they're designed to do. This is not designed to do that. Shadow Dark is very much about avoiding combat. That's not necessarily conflict, but combat. You don't, in the main rule set, you don't get experience for destroying monsters. You get experience for finding things, completing quests, and that kind of thing. So you can get experience without lifting a pistol if you play smartly. And this is the way that I'm writing the scenario. Um, you have to be clever. You have to have your wits about you, and this is where in and out of character comes in, because Shadowdark allows you to do the sensible thing. If you as a player thinks it's sensible to do something, your character also thinks it's a sensible thing to do. Um, Kyle has said, I'm excited about it though. I'm hoping there'll be lots of vents to hide in, as I don't want to try and fight an alien. Absolutely, yeah. I mean, as I said, it's all about um, doing the sensible thing in these kind of games, these kind of old school style sort of games. Um, I'm very excited to see how it's going to play out. Um, but I'm going to be running it. This is the kind of strange thing. So where my mind is that Shadowdark for me, especially this game Junkers, is going to be more run like a game of futuristic Call of Cthulhu rather than like futuristic Dungeons and Dragons. In Call of Cthulhu, for people that are not familiar with it, you play kind of normal people, and you're up against a terrible, all-powerful, very, very dangerous threat, um, and you try to work a way round defeating that threat rather than going toe to toe with it. Um, and that is the kind of style of play that I'm trying to promote with it. Um, so it's going to be very, very interesting. I mean, another influence for this scenario is obviously Event Horizon as well. A very, very good sort of horror sci-fi movie. So it's all to be done, and if I can get those tropes in, if I can get those that feel and look to the game, I'll certainly have had a blast and be very happy about it. Whilst this is a one shot, if it is enjoyed by both the players and people viewing it, then we'll look to do more. Not necessarily a campaign, but invite other junkers, and we might even set up rivalries with different crews and see how they do, and see which corporations from the smoke they associate themselves with. So I think it's very much got legs to stand on. So it's all to watch and all to do. If you are interested, as I say, you can drop into our Discord and ask me about it. Certainly, if you're not in chat now and you're watching this on catch up, if you are interested in watching some of our other actual plays, in the comment section, I've put in some links to the fantasy Tales from the Smoke game that we did an actual play. The session 2 is next Wednesday. It'll probably be a pre-record again, so it'll be uploaded to YouTube the following day. But there's also the session 0 of that Tales from the Smoke game, and the prologue as well for you to catch. So I'm very excited. I'm going to bring the 6 o'clock club to a close now, because I need to get ready for a 5th edition Icebreakers Critical Role game where they're about to descend into the Shadow Fell rather than the Shadow Dark, and I can't wait for that. So have a fun rest of the evening. I hope I've inspired you or captured your interest in, at the very least, seeing how it plays on Saturday or on catch up. Um, But until next we meet, stay safe, take care, and as I said, enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye for now.